Hello everybody and welcome to Amphlett Reviews. Back with another Taiwanese-based production film. We have is The Swordsman of the Swordsmen, thanks to the amazing EUREKA release, directed by Joseph Koo, which is a big director for its time, absolutely. Someone who is of a bit of a uprise recently, thanks to the Vengeance box that EUREKA also did not too long ago, which features a lot of his kind of underground movies that have never really seen the light of day, never had the HD transfers, never had the kind of appeal compared to a lot of the big players during that time. And this is a really kind of highly regarded director, screenwriter, someone who is got a lot of interest, a lot of intrigue recently from the Hong Kong community, and kind of like everything that's basically kind of martial arts kind of based, and established himself as a kind of a very much an indie, very low production kind of director, which also did some big movies here and there in between, and was a bit of a staple kind of director during that time, and explored a lot heavily within the extras on thanks to this edition. And this film is very highly regarded, very well sought after, and people are really excited to finally get this film on a HD format release. And this has had a brand new transfer that's basically been restoration, 2K transfer restoration, to kind of preserve kind of Taiwanese-based kind of movies during that time, because there's a lot of productions that are kind of lost to the ages, or kind of have damaged prints, or that are very just gone essentially, and this is kind of reserving those movies during that time. And during the making of this film, at the same time, another film was being made under the kind of the same similar production companies that was dragging it in. So we've got a lot of these kind of very famous, very kind of period movies, kind of wushu, martial art based movies from Taiwan, that basically are making big waves and inspiring other directors and other performers in that field. And obviously you got Shaw Brothers during that time. The Swordsman of the Swordsmen has definitely been a highly regarded one for sure, alongside another film that's also on this edition, which is the Mystery of Checker Boxing, which I will review in a separate video, which is also on the edition, but it's got a heavily damaged print. They've basically restored it to the best of their abilities. I think they do say on the edition, please note that due to the only surviving material available being the release print of the film, the Mystery of Checker Boxing is presented with burnt-in subtitles. So they've gone back and done the best they can, but they've included as an extra film on this edition. But the main film on here is the Swords of the Swordsmen, which is I watched quite recently. There you go. I'm just going to show you the packaging. It is reverse artwork, so they just have the other one on here, which is always appropriate. However, you do get both here, you get the booklet, and you get some art cards as well included. As mentioned, this film was directed by Joseph Koo, released in 1968. This is a prior movie to the one-armed swordsman, and a lot of those traditional kind of swordplay based kind of wushu movies that were coming quite popular and big during the same time frame, during the late 60s going into the 70s with Shaw Brothers. And this was the kind of the starting point of a lot of those movies. And as mentioned, Dragging In was also around the same corner, released in 1967, which is 1 year after, which is a big epic film that was under the same production company. The extras on this edition is absolutely phenomenal, which really gives a lot more insight into behind the scenes of this film, how it was made. A lot of his films have not really got the kind of the 5-star treatments, but it's interesting on the extra features where they have an interview with him, basically talking about his kind of career with, script writing and being a kind of a young, inspiring kind of, writer first, essentially wanting to get into the industry, and he was doing script plays and kind of thing, and trying to get involved in that kind of industry during that time. And he was mainly known for doing romantic kind of movies. He kind of got his starting point in kind of romantic kind of comedies and love stories. He got an opportunity to direct this film as well, and without really any experience or kind of any kind of knowledge of how to do it. But because he was the script writer, because he knew the story, knew the characters, he was given the opportunity to direct and film this film on location and go off and make it. Essentially, this film holds up pretty goddamn well. This is an 18 rated film. It's violent. It definitely holds, no punches in terms of the kind of the swordplay and the kind of the violent. The story itself is quite simple, but the execution I think is really well handled, and I think it is just the right amount of kind of running time, being an hour and 25 minutes. It doesn't waste too much of your time. It really kind of gets you straight into the kind of the good stuff straight away. It slows down a little bit towards the second act, of course, and then it gives you that interesting kind of finale towards the third act, which I think is really appropriate. The film essentially is this character which we don't know much about. He's coming into town, someone who is very highly skilled and in his kind of, swords play, and he is basically tracking down these people that basically killed his father a very long time ago, who basically wanted to capture the spirited sword, if I remember correctly. So he witnesses as a kid, and he is on a basically almost a Kill Bill kind of vengeance, essentially, to take out one of these one by one. And they have various kind of different skill sets themselves, and they're much older, and some of them are a lot more kind of haven't got any better as age has gone on. They're a lot more kind of ruthless and evil, and they're kind of the introduction of one of the bad guys straight away is someone who is challenging this kind of merchant, basically saying if you can knock me down, then I'll make you a rich man, but if I knock you down, I'll take your daughter in marriage, essentially. And it's like kind of like ha 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 kind of bad guys kind of thing. He comes into town, obviously he's trying to track them down and takes them one by one, and very kind of bloody, nasty kind of violence, which is pretty awesome. It's not like too graphic, essentially, but there's some of the nature of it, especially when you're killing one of your characters and pinning them to a tree by your sword. That's pretty violent, but very highly satisfying. And you get into some nice kind of scrapes here and there. He faces various kind of adversaries, one-on-one, sometimes big groups. And the way it's presented, the way it's kind of choreographed, and the way the main actor kind of sells his character is really good. I got quite invested quite quickly, and that's a really good sign straight away, especially for these, kind of late 60s films. You never know, not sure what these kind of films are going to be. Sometimes it's a lot of talking too much, or it's a lot of downtime too much, and you're here for some kick-ass action, but you also do want some heart and some motion alongside it to kind of help kind of make that journey kind of a lot interesting. And this film goes for various kind of twists and turns and some of its kind of narrative points. You've kind of got another challenger as well, someone who's also the best of the best, who someone wants to challenge him and saying, I know you on your revenge mission, but I want to challenge you because I want to be known. I want to be able to defeat my skill sets versus yours, essentially, because there's various different kind of forms of kind of weaponry and kind of skill sets during that time. And he's basically saying, okay, I'll be around, essentially, and I'll wait until you have your revenge, and then I will basically challenge you when the time is right, essentially. So you got that kind of element into it, which is interesting kind of play that plays into more of the second and third act of the film, which is quite cool. You've got also a woman who's associated with that guy, who's also got some investment into kind of what this revenge journey is going to, what it means. Overall, Swordsman of the Swordsmen is a very tight, very well told, executed, hour and 25-minute film that delivers you the goods in terms of the swords play element. It gives you the emotion, gives you some of the drama, gives you great motivation with some of the characters. It gives you some interesting kind of plot reveals and kind of twists that do happen in the film. It's nothing mind-blowing, it's nothing that you haven't seen before, but it's just so elegantly done and so well performed and so well executed for the limitations of the time. Great set locations, bad guys are interesting, our main leading character is very morally grey. That's been my review, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. What are your thoughts and opinions on the film? What are your thoughts and opinions on the director, his filmography? What are your thoughts on the mystery of checker boxing? Is that going to be something quite special to check out? I'm very much looking forward to that being an extra feature on this edition. So look to know your thoughts and opinions, guys. Please comment down below. In the meantime, guys, down for reviews. Signing out.